Hello, everybody. And also, hello, Internet. We are live streaming this. My name is Laura Kampf, and Adobe asked me to come here today and talk a little bit about my career, what it is that I do, how I found my passion, how I turned my passion into a career, and why I need professional tools so I can stay an amateur. But I want to show you a quick video of my work first, because I think that explains most of it.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So this is what I do. For the past 4 years, I've been making weekly projects about building pretty much random things. It could be anything from stuff that I need at my home to stuff that my dog might need, or remodeling bicycles, or just random stuff that I found in the trash. And the thing is, hold on, I'm always forgetting the slides, so get used to me skipping with the slides back and forth. It all started when I started studying design about 12 years ago, and I had a class that was called Everyday Objects, and we were asked to come up with a concept that involves everyday objects. It could be anything. And I was thinking about this, and I thought about how people in prison, if they want to make stuff, they have to use everyday objects. And I love the ingenuity and repurposing and re-engineering a toothbrush to make a knife or something. So I decided to build a prison-style tattoo machine. This is what it looked like. And although this is just a pile of trash, this thing absolutely changed my life, because for the first time I had a feeling that I found my voice, that I could express my ideas and my visions so much better than with drawings or songs or all the other creative disciplines that I tried before. And that got me hooked on building stuff. And over the next years, I built more things like that, like this giant boombox. Yeah, that's 10 years ago, you can tell by the pants. And that was the time that I took a pretty brave decision, and I decided to sell my car, sell pretty much everything that I had, quit my apartment, and I bought a little camper, and I moved into an old warehouse, because I realized if I want to improve my skills building things, I need a place where I can get better. And for everybody who tried to put together an IKEA bed or wardrobe, it is very difficult to build things. And you need time to practice that. And that's what I did in this warehouse. Whoop, there's a little delay. Yes. So this is my little caravan. You can see the boombox. I also had a little mirror ball. I had a good time living in this warehouse for 5 years. And that's where I started following my dreams. I'm a little bit, I'm sick of this, to be honest. Follow your dreams. We all heard it a million times. We heard it so much that it actually doesn't mean anything anymore. And I also think that this sentence addresses the wrong problem. It's not difficult to follow your dream. It is very difficult to find what it is that you're dreaming about. So in design school, I learned a very interesting technique. My professor told me, if you are faced with a difficult challenge that you cannot solve yourself, try to go in the exact opposite direction. So if I tell you, please design for me the most comfortable chair in the world, it is sometimes easier to imagine the most uncomfortable chair in the world. So what makes a chair uncomfortable? It would be spiky, the angles would be wrong, the height would be all off, the material would be uncomfortable, scratchy. And then you take all these information and you go in the exact opposite again, and that's where you have a pretty comfortable chair. And that technique, I used it to find out what it is that I really need. So I basically followed my dreams by avoiding my nightmares. I had I had many different jobs. I tried a lot of different things. And with every job that I had, I tried to remember the one thing that I did not like about it. Also, I tried to remember the things that I did like about it. But I used that technique to find out what it is that I'm passionate about. Now, I had these informations. I kind of knew some things. But the problem is, I am very passionate. And I like pretty much anything. And I'm interested in a lot of different things. And when it comes to building stuff, I didn't want to limit myself to just woodworking. I also wanted to weld. I also wanted to build lamps. I wanted to know about electricity. And I wanted to learn all of these different techniques. But the problem is, everybody tells you to become an expert at things. The society wants you to find this one thing, at least that's what the story is, this one thing that you're super passionate about, and then take it and become the best at it. Like, be an expert at welding, be an expert at woodworking. And I felt so pressured because I couldn't focus on anything longer than a week. Today it's woodworking, I want to do nothing else. And the next week it's welding, and I couldn't tie it down to this one discipline that I wanted to become good at. And it took me probably 27 years, I would say, to figure out that I just don't want to be an expert. I want to be a generalist. And I allowed myself to be okay with that. I allowed myself to have different interests and not to turn everything to the professional level. Now, there was a big information for me. But the problem is, how do I turn that into a job? I need to put my phone away, it doesn't work. So how do I turn it into a career? I learned a couple things about myself. I didn't want to be professional. I wanted to experiment. I wanted to try new things, keep learning, and stay a beginner. I was not looking for this perfect product. I wasn't interested to find the perfect chair or the perfect table, a product that I could sell over and over and over again and turn that into a living. Because I think, and everybody here who is creative, and I think most of you are probably somewhat related to the creative field, the pressure of having good ideas is enormous. And it can sometimes destroy you and pressure you to a point where you just have an art block, you don't have any ideas at all anymore. So I decided for myself, I'd rather have 1,000 bad ideas than only one good idea. Because seeing bad ideas come to life provides just as much value, and it's even more entertaining sometimes. If you saw it in the beginning in the video, I tried to build a bicycle with 3 wheels, which is physically impossible. I know that now. I found that out the hard way. We tried to ride it with 3 girls, and it was a nightmare. I know now that a bicycle with 3 wheels does not work. So, by the way, that is a picture from not my recent shop. I just had to move out of this, but this is the shop that I built. So you saw my first shop. This is what it looked like 10 years later. So the question was, how do I turn this into a career? Don't want to sell the product, don't want to be a professional. I don't want to have to rely on good ideas. So I have my idea, any idea, it could be a bad idea. And the process of turning that to reality, this is where I'm super interested. This is the story that I want to tell you guys. And that's where I realized that my process is my product. It's not a chair, it's not a bed, it's just the time that I'm spending in the shop trying to figure out how to build a 3-wheeled bicycle. And that led me to the conclusion that I am actually a storyteller. That's what I want to do. Although I see myself as a maker, designer, content creator, I want to tell stories. I want to share with you my passion to get your hands dirty, to find trash and turn it into a barbecue, or to build a bicycle that doesn't work. So I want to show you another video. It is a little bit older, but it's still one of my favorite projects, and I think that captures the storytelling and my passion for working with trash and working with my hands pretty well. Sound? Yep, there it is.
Every dream I dream is about you.
That's it. So now let's talk about my favorite thing in the world. Let's talk a little bit about tools. I have a lot of different tools in my workshop that I need to build the different things that I want to build. I also have a lot of different tools on my computer, and I need them to tell my stories. And that's why I love to work with Adobe, because they have, for every story I want to tell, they have the right tool. Even before I know I want to tell that story, they already provide the solution. And that's why I love the Creative Suite so much. Let me give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I forgot my key phrase, but I said it at the beginning, but here we go. I need professional tools so I can be an amateur. I think that's the most important realization that I ever made in my career so far. I don't want to be the bottleneck in my shop. I don't want my tools to fail, but it is okay if I fail. So this is the right balance for me. What I wanted to talk about before, I just decided to make a podcast with my friend. She's a best-selling author in Germany. We both work in the creative field. We actually grew up together, and we decided to record the conversations that we have over beer or coffee and turn it into a podcast. So we met. The hardest part was to organize the microphones. And when we sat down across from each other, I opened my laptop, and that was the first time I thought about software, because I kind of knew Adobe would have a solution for me. So we opened Audition, probably have to press a plus or something to make a new project. Oh, there's a red button, press that. Oh, it's recording, let's go. And this is how we still record our podcast. I still don't know anything else about this program, but that's all I need to know. I just need to know how to record and how to stop the recording. And this is fantastic for me. I am the amateur, the program is the pro. And in this case of the podcast, not only did Audition enable me to tell my story in a podcast form, it also inspired a new project, because since the software part was so easy, I wanted to come up with a good solution for my hardware as well. And that's why I built the Podcase. That is an old Rimowa suitcase I found, and it's a foldable podcasting studio. And now we have the hardware and the software figured out, and I'm very, very happy about that. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for listening. I hope you're having a great weekend. And if you want to check out my work on YouTube or Instagram, it's Laura Kampf. Thanks so much.